as though like the Crown Plaza was making this political assertion. So I just want us to talk for a minute from all your perspectives about why that assertion is important to make and what happens if somebody inserts, if somebody tries to generalize from there or go to the all lives matter place. What is the actual effect of that interruption of the Black Lives Matter assertion?
Oh,
or anything you want to say.
Good. I'm like, how much time do we have?
As much time as you need.
There we go. All right, then. Y'all ready to get in?
Yes.
Okay. So let's start with the why Black Lives Matter. And Charlene and I backstage were having a conversation about this way in which folks can take this assertion and turn it into a whole bunch of things. And that's the beauty of an open source assertion, right? Black Lives Matter is expressed in multiple ways. One is a hashtag, another is an organizing network that has more than 24 chapters around the world, right? So when we talk about Black Lives Matter, folks go, oh my God, you guys are social media activists. And sometimes people give us love for that, and sometimes people are hating on it, but either way, we want you to know it's real people in real time, connecting in real places, physically, not just clicking like on social media. But just to get back to this conversation we were having, there was this kind of notion around, well, who are we saying that to? Who are we saying Black Lives Matter to? Black people know Black Lives Matter, so are you making an assertion to white people? And the answer is no, right? That this is a reclamation of our dignity as people. So whoever you want to tell it to them. But it wasn't designed as a message for white folks to suddenly get it that Black Lives Matter. What it was designed to do was to rekindle something inside of us, right? And to be frank, I mean, it happened really by accident. So it's not a startup, it's not a 501c3. We're literally, it's moving faster than we are, right? So we just want to be super transparent about, you know, we didn't sit in a room together and say, let's start this hashtag that's going to become, you know, this national organizing network. What we were doing was sharing our grief and our love for one another after yet another Black person was murdered with no accountability. And really the cry, I mean, if we wanted to change the hashtag, we could also change it to Stop the War on Black America. We could also change it to Stop the War on the Black Diaspora, but that was a lot of words. So we chose Black Lives Matter.
Are you saying that the way in which you put the words together actually also makes a difference? Like, that's something that organizers should pay attention to, the way in which you put the words together?
Well, let me say it this way. Again, it's an assertion of self-love, self-respect, and a call for our dignity and humanity, and it's a call to action in response to anti-Black racism that permeates our society. So when the response to that is, well, all lives matter, there's something that's missing. Okay, I'm being sweet because I'm having a good day today. When you say all lives matter in response to Black folks crying out for our lives, it's just not a good look, right? So number one, of course all lives matter. That's a given, right? We've heard many expressions of that. We all bleed red, we're all human beings, that's all completely true. And what's also true is that Black lives are at the losing end of many, if not most, disparities that you can name, and we could go through them, and education is one of them. But also what's real is that we don't live in a world where all lives matter. So it doesn't make sense to assert that in a world where that doesn't actually exist.
I never thought about that.
And in essence, it's a way to not talk about race in a world that is thriving right now off of a dynamic where everything and nothing is about race. So I've had friends from high school saying, well, you people got your president, what's the problem? You people. These are folks who, I went to their bar mitzvahs, right? These are folks, we grew up together. We did sleepovers, you know, we were ugly together. It was like a whole thing.
That's called growing up.
It's called growing up. But there's this way in which talking about race is so uncomfortable when it's explicit, but we talk about it all the time implicitly. Whether it's in the immigration debate, right, where we talk about, well, you know, we're not criminals. We pay taxes. Well, who doesn't pay taxes and who are criminals, right? Whether it's in conversations about criminalization, right? Even in conversations about marches, demonstrations, and protests. Protesters and demonstrators, right? And then the people who are keeping the peace, right? There's these dichotomies, and we use this language that's coded, and it's dripping with racism, but we feel better about ourselves because we're not being explicit. So when we say all lives matter, that's kind of a jerkish way to say, I don't want to have this conversation no more. Or it's another, you know, being more compassionate, it's also another way to say, I'm uncomfortable with the conversation that we're having. What about me? What about me? Right? And it's not just white folks, right? This happens also with other oppressed, marginalized, disenfranchised groups where people go, well, my life matters too. Absolutely. Absolutely. And can we talk about the fundamental role that anti-Blackness plays even in the construction of your identity here in this country?